Welcome back to Fast Freddy RC, and today we're going to do an unboxing video of the brand new Opel Kadett GT on the brand new MB-01 chassis. Now, I have to tell you, I'm pretty excited about this because it's been a long time. This has been quite a journey getting an MB-01 for the channel. I don't know if you remember, but way back when the MB-01 chassis came out, there was the Fiat Abarth. Now, that one I was going to bring to the channel because it was the very first car that came on that MB-01 chassis, and I pre-ordered it. That would have been the car that we would have been looking at. But I knew I wanted to do it box art, and it took me a while to get to the point where I was going to order it, and then all of a sudden they announced that it was going to come pre-painted. Now, because I wanted to do this box art, I thought, well, you know what, maybe I'll wait on that. So I canceled the order and was waiting for this pre-painted version to show up. Well, in the meantime, what did Tamiya do? They announced a few others that were coming out on this chassis. So this, or I should say the Fiat Abarth, came out last year, and then in January they brought out the Giulia Sprint. Then they announced that they were coming out with the Opel Kadett GT as well as the Citroën DS. Well, because I had waited so long to get this chassis on the channel, I decided to do a poll. And as you can see here, it was an overwhelming choice. So I decided that I would go with the Opel Kadett GT for the channel because that poll pretty much was telling me you weren't wanting to see that Fiat Abarth. I mean, I gotta tell you, the Fiat Abarth actually is a pretty interesting looking car, and I did like the idea that you built a motor and everything on the back. But I also was thinking, well, that's probably gonna get broken. It's not I wasn't 100% sold on it. I think it's a great, more of a static model. I don't know if I wanted to really drive it, but this one actually, of all of the, when I decided to do the poll, this is the one that was standing out to me, and it obviously was standing out to you. So this is the one that I've brought to the channel. And again, I'm super excited to do the unboxing, but also super excited to build this chassis because I've been waiting a long time to bring an MB-01 to the channel. Now, a couple things on this car, which I thought was interesting. The car itself was introduced in 1973, and then the version that you're seeing here, the one we're unboxing, was introduced in 1975. And this car ran like this right up until 1979. And in fact, this is the last car, Opel Kadett, that they produced that was front engine, rear wheel drive. Now, I have to tell you, there is one slight thing that's nagging me a little bit about the whole setup of this MB-01. As you know, the MB-01 chassis can be built front wheel drive and it can be built rear wheel drive. So for the smaller sort of M size chassis, you have options. Well, this car is a front engine rear drive car. And originally when I was looking at this, I thought, well, that's cool because I can build it front engine rear wheel drive. No, you can't. On the MB-01, you have a choice of front motor, front wheel drive, mid motor, rear wheel drive, or mid motor but high. You can actually put the motor at a high position, and my understanding with that is it means that you actually have more traction on the rear wheels because it changes the weight distribution, so there's more power going to the rear wheels. Now that's all fine and good, but because this is a front engine rear wheel drive car, part of me feels a little, I don't know, I feel a little let down because knowing that car is a front engine rear drive, I would have preferred to have built this as a front engine rear drive, just like what you can do with the BT-01 chassis, which you can make front engine rear drive. It's just a little nag. I just find it funny that you have a chassis that you can build, you know, as a front wheel drive or a rear wheel drive, but when you put this body on it and you know what the car actually was, you can't build it in the configuration it's supposed to be. So I'll leave it at that. It's just a little nag. But other than that, I think this is super, super cool. When the car first came out in this GT version, it came out in these colors, and that was the standard version, and you had to, as a customer, request a different paint job if you wanted something else. So that was the standard color. Anyways, this is, despite everything, I'm still super, super excited to have been able to bring this to the channel. Hope you enjoy this, and so let's just get to the unboxing. So I've taken the plastic off just to make things easier, but there's one other thing I wanted to mention. And you can see that there are 3 different wheelbases for this car. So depending on what kit they decide to come out with next, it could be different. Now with the Opel Kadett, it actually is the large, which is interesting because if this is the large, then the small is quite small, but I'm partly wondering whether we're going to see a mini come out on this. I know it's going to be a licensing issue, but I wonder if they'll come out with a new mini on this chassis. Anyways, we'll see. So let's take a look inside the box. All right, so first off, looks like we've got some, I guess these are the headlight cups. Yes, they'll be the front headlight cups, along with the mirrors, and I don't know what those are. Maybe they're part of the bumper system on there. I don't know. Then we've got these, which are, looks like we've got the body mount posts, probably some of the bumpers, and we've got the upper arms, maybe the lower arms too, by the looks of it. So they're there. Then we have the body. This looks so cool. I really like these boxy looking cars. Sometimes I find that the cars of today, they all look the same, including like Jaguars. They've just made them look like a Buick, or like there's nothing stylish about them that make them stand out. Every Jaguar I remember as a kid, you knew it was a Jaguar. You didn't even have to do a second glance. So these are just awesome. I love, 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 love the look of that. Now what's interesting is I've noticed that a lot of their older kits, they do the wheel wells. These wheel wells have not been pre-cut either. So I'm not sure why some kits come with the pre-cut wheel wells and others don't, but that just looks cool. I'll put that aside. So then, let's see, we've got bits and pieces here. It looks like we've got our shock pieces. Looks like this is the battery door, just like what's on the MB-01. We've got arm pieces, yeah, all the shock pieces. And then here, well, we've got a bag of goodies. Oh, I'll open it up because normally they don't come like this, but there are the wheels. Very, very cool. Here we have some of the clear plastic pieces. So these are for your rear lights and the front. And it's interesting that it's clear plastic, like the whole thing. You don't normally see that. They're usually molded, you know, in gray or black. And then with this, we've got our drive shafts. And yeah, all of our drive joints, and you can even see the axle there, very small axles. And then in this bag, we've got our front uprights. And you know what? There are some elements to this that look very much like what's on the MB-01. Like these pieces look almost identical. So I wonder if they've, you know, there's a lot of shared pieces. There probably are, because all it is a change in the length of the chassis. So Maybe there's these two, actually, I'll bet you this is parts tree A. I'm just going to take a guess here that this will be parts tree A. I can't see the... Oh well, it doesn't matter, but it looks very similar to what's in the BT-01. So that's all in that bag. Then here we have our tires. Very, very cool. Awesome. And then here, this is our deck. And again, you see, this again is very similar to the BT-01 because there's this deck and they're going to slide together and be joined in the middle. And this, it's not the same, I can tell, so it's definitely a different one, but that is very much how the BT-01 chassis came with the two pieces. Then this one, we've got our gear covering, very cool. And let's see, this is our motor mount. That's where that's going to go. The gear cover and other pieces, that's going to be our servo mounting piece there. And those pieces there are going to be for the rear differential as well, which I recognize again from the BT-01. So very, very cool. So there's definitely lots of different elements to this that are similar to the BT-01. And then of course in here we have all of our other goodies. So here we have our servo pieces. If it can focus, there we go. There's our servo arms and servo saver. And again, there's another one. So that's all part of the servo saver. They look very similar to the BT-01 as well. Then in this bag, we've got our gears, our differential, and all of the little smaller bevel gears in there. Very, very cool. And then here, you can see that this one has lighting pieces. So these are mounts for adding the lights. So if this had a light kit, that's what you'd use these for. So in order for me to put lights on this, I'm going to have to order a light kit, that's for sure. I don't think I'll do it right away, but I'll have all the pieces ready to go when I need them. And then of course we've got our bag A. And very similar to the BT-01, I can tell that this piece right here, this long gray piece, it's designed to fit on the backside of the gear cover because the battery sits beside it. So that's what's going to make it so that the battery's not moving around. It will actually kind of stick itself to this. And then of course we've got our motor mount, we've got bearings or bushings, we've got alt screws, plastic bushings. But again, I highly suggest that you replace all of the plastic and metal bushings with a full set of ball bearings, which I will definitely be doing for this kit. Then of course we've got bag B, which inside of there we've got all sorts. We've got our box wrench, we've got our springs, we've got another bag full of like the plastic bushings, screws and everything, and some O-rings, etc. So that's what we've got in bag B. Then in here we've got bag C, and in bag C it looks like we've got our flange nuts for the wheels, we've got all of our ball connectors for you know, the steering arms and suspension pieces. And then of course there's probably our steering arm that will attach to the servo. And then we've got tape and of course all of our zap straps or zip straps for tidying up all the cables once everything's attached. Very, very cool. And then the last thing in here, we have our standard Silvercan 540 motor. Very, very cool. RS 540. So there's our 540 motor. There's also a plastic aerial, don't need to look at that. But here is our instruction manual for this Opel Kadett. And this is going to be very interesting. I understand that with this kit, because you can do it both front wheel drive and rear wheel drive, once the electronics are attached, you don't need to worry about taking it all apart to switch it. You can make this rear wheel drive or front wheel drive at your leisure, and it's a lot easier to do. So we'll see. But again, these instruction manuals, even on the MB-01, super clear, easy to understand. So this is going to be a fun build. And you see what I mean? There's two halves that are going to come together later in the manual. Very cool. Very cool. Awesome. And lastly, because I am going to be doing this one box art, we've got all of our decals. Very cool. And I mean, the painting of yellow and black, I just think is going to look super cool, and these decals are just going to make it pop. Wow. Awesome. Now, what is interesting, and we'll just take a quick look at this. There's your, it says MB-01 chassis settings. Now this one is long, so this is the wheelbase difference, but I can already tell that if you remember, there's the two decks that come together. You just don't, you know, when this is attached, you don't push it all the way in. That's how you're going to make the wheelbases different. So depending on the kit, it's going to go in, or, you know, in farther or not. Now you can see this, removing steering servo for the front, or the mid removing steering servo. So this is what you're going to have to refer to when you're changing the kit from either, you know, rear drive or front wheel drive. Very cool. But I have a feeling, and I'm just going to take a quick look at this main instruction manual again, is that, yeah, this instruction manual is MR, meaning it's mid-motor rear drive. And that is how I will be building the Kadett, because it wasn't a front-wheel drive car, it was a rear. And the only configuration you can do on the M01 chassis that's rear is the mid-motor design. So I will be following this manual, not referring to the others. Now at a later date, I might try the front-wheel drive out of curiosity, but we'll see. So that is the unboxing of the Opel Kadett GTE on the MB-01 chassis. So if you are interested in this kit and following along in the build series, do subscribe, click that notification button as videos come out. And you know, I just want to thank you once again for following along. So that is it for the unboxing of the Opel Kadett GTE on the MB-01 chassis. So if you are interested in this kit or interested in help with an MB-01 build, do subscribe to the channel, hit that notification button, because I will be doing a full build series on this step by step. So until next time, we'll see you in another video.